I'm Lenny Baticki. This week on Wind Tunnel.
I think there is so much more that needs to be done. However, I can't say enough about NASCAR's commitment to diversity and their focus on making the sport open, accessible, and welcoming.
Nemechek thought he should have won both races here last year. He didn't win either one of them, but he is going to get it done tonight.
To be honest with you, I'm excited to be back in Indy. I'm excited to be back with all the fans. And yeah, I'm just looking to have a great time. I know we're going to have a good car. I know we're going to have a good Sunday. I want to enjoy it, man. You have to enjoy it.
The winless streak is going to be over. Justin Allgaier back to victory lane at Darlington.
It's the last lap. Oh, he is almost. Oh, into the wall. Logano goes by.
I have no clue. It's all. I've never gotten a phone call from this fan. I don't know. I feel like all the teams are used to drivers going to them and saying, "I got this much funding. What do I got? How many races am I getting?" That's what it is. That's how it works.
Wind Tunnel is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, the official auto parts retailer of NASCAR.
Whoa! Look out! Big nice save! Sideways! Nice save from Colton Herta.
But tonight it belongs to Zane Smith.
Checker flag, finally I'm out ahead, baby.
The winner at Kansas.
Great jump there by Bordeaux. Outpulls, then he stalls a little bit. Look when he shifted up, he didn't have the power there. Albuquerque's coming back at him.
This is 23-11. This is our first win for the 45 car. And with Jordan Brand on the hood, I felt like I had to play like the GOAT, race like the GOAT. And I had to beat Kyle's. I had to beat both.
Here's your Wind Tunnel host.
Well, that's just a symbolic representation of what happened to Wind Tunnel this week. My apologies to you for the delay. It seems that a week that I encountered was saddled with computer crashes, editing issues, and unavoidable delays. But fear not, we are back. And I'm happy to say the full Wind Tunnel episode is ready for your listening enjoyment. And I hope you'll enjoy it. The week delay means that I have to get you caught up on 2 weeks of race results. So let's start with the action from 2 weeks ago. The NASCAR world played tribute to their heritage with their annual throwback weekend at their oldest speedway, Darlington Raceway, when all three of the sport's premier series, Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup, took to the track affectionately known as the Lady in Black. First up was the Camping World Trucks as they strutted their stuff under the lights Friday night with the running of the Dead On Tools 200.
The green flag is out. It's a throwback weekend, and we're racing at Darlington. Kligerman for the lead. Can he secure it? The 75 to the front. Parker Kligerman restarted 14th and came through with the tires to win the stage. For the lead, Hosevar. On the bottom, challenging Chastain. Kligerman right there. And now Carson Hosevar is going to win stage 2. Can Hosevar make a run at Nemechek as they come off turn 2? We heard Hosevar say he'd have to do it down in 3 and 4, but he's not close enough at this point. Nemechek thought he should have won both races here last year. He didn't win either one of them, but he is going to get it done tonight. John Hunter Nemechek wins at Darlington.
Didn't seem like we were still the team that we were. We were fast. We were leading laps. We were winning stages, but we weren't finishing where we needed to. And I feel like we finally had the ship turned the right way and sailing the right way. So hopefully we can keep this momentum. And I definitely think it's a relief as well, being able to get that first win going into the 8-week stretch that we have now in the NASCAR Game World Truck Series.
For Carson Hosevar, it was a second consecutive runner-up finish.
It's tough. It's tough to be the best car and have the best thing happen. I mean, we had a lot of adversity in the sense that we had to come from, I think, 8th or 9th with 2 restarts left or 40 to go or whatever from a bad pit stop. So be able to come back and run second is tough to do. I just wish the 4 had the same issue on pit road as I did. No, anytime I think I'm going to win or start preparing what I'm going to say in my victory lane speech, it all goes to hell in a handbasket. So I'm going with the Dale Jr. philosophy of what's gonna go wrong now, like what's gonna keep me from winning this race. I thought I had a shot. It just depended on fourth getting to my right rear, and with Ross being there, I took the front row and had a decent shot. Came to the white flag, and my motor died, or electricals died for like split seconds, and then he was gone. But I think I would have had a shot just because I was better in 1 and 2. I felt like, and I could at least maintain. And I knew he was going to run the top, so I was Carl Edwardsing that thing, 3 and 4. I wasn't going to lift till I saw God, or at least I saw him about 5 car lengths back in my rearview mirror.
Then on Saturday, it was the Xfinity Series turn. It was their running of the Mahindra Roxor 200.
About as good of a start as you can ask out of AJ Allmendinger for the second time in a row. The 7th able to hang up there, build a nice gap too over the 9th.
Allgaier takes over the race lead from the outside lane. Gregson slides into second.
Lloyd, the 7 has checked out.
Yes, he has. Yep. White flag is out. 1 lap to go at Darlington. Next flag ends the race. Should we see? Here they come through turns 3 and 4. The winless streak is going to be over. Justin Allgaier back to victory lane at Darlington.
But to come back here and win this race, man, I love you guys. Pit stops were awesome. Thank you, pit crew.
And Junior Motorsports has now won 3 in a row this season and 3 in a row here at this famed track in South Carolina.
To come here literally a year after our last win and to win back-to-back in the spring race here at Darlington, there's no words that can describe how awesome that is. And today obviously didn't start the race like we wanted to. I was pretty confident when we were sitting on pit road with no power that it was gonna be a really long day. And the team never wavered and got the car fixed, and we were able to make our way through traffic. And I felt like really when the race was over and kind of having a moment of reflection as we were coming this way, I really believe that coming through the field at the start of the race was the difference maker today.
The weekend was capped off with Cup and their Goodyear 400.
And Richard Petty waves the green flag to start the Goodyear 400.
The race came down to the final lap between pole sitter Joey Logano and the race leader, William Byron.
It's the last lap. He is loose. Into the wall. Logano goes by. Wow. You saw it coming. That 24 was loose. He was having to back up the corner a little bit, but man, he got hit pretty hard there. Joey Logano.
Nice job. Check flag.
28th career win. Logano, from the pole to the checkered flag, captures the Goodyear 400.
Talk me through turn 3. You chase down William Byron. We see some contact, but you end up coming through with the win today.
Yeah, you're not going to put me in the wall and not get anything back. That's how that works. But I've never won here in a Cup race before. So, man, I tell you what, the coolest thing is getting this car in the victory lane. This is the car where it all started for me back in '95 in a quarter midget. And it really, honestly, all the young kids racing out there right now, this could be you.
Here's William Byron's take on Joey's last lap bump and run.
I heard from Joey, and it sounded almost like it was a retaliation thing. Did you guys have something happen before that?
No, I mean, we were really close off of 2, and I think it spooked him and got him tight, and he was right against the wall, and I got the lead. And he's just an idiot. I mean, he does this stuff all the time. I've seen it with other guys, and I mean, he drove in there 10 mile an hour too fast. And with these next-gen cars, he slammed me so hard it knocked the whole right side off the car, and no way to make the corner. So, he's just a moron. He can't win a race, so he does it that way. So
NASCAR's Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series saw plenty of action over the weekend. And for that report, we welcome the host of Performance Racing Network's At the Track show, Lenny Baticki.
Thanks a lot, Jack. This is your NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Racing Series report. We'll start out up in Canada at Quebec's Autodrome Granby. They call him La Petite Prince. William Resson took the win. Josh Stade, a winner at Ontario's Sunset Speedway. Adams County, Iowa to Zach Zeitner. Terry Seneca won at Berlin Raceway in Michigan. Bethel, New York to Ed Dockenhausen, while Ricky Bly parked at a Claremont Motorsports Park. Cedar Lake Speedway in Wisconsin to Jason Chill. Shadron Turner, a winner at Central Missouri. Colorado National to Jordan Dieselnick. Cade Brown got the win at Florence Motor Speedway in South Carolina. Hickory Motor Speedway in North Carolina to Lane Riggs. Jimmy Renfrew won at Hudson Speedway in New Hampshire. Monadnock went to Jarrett Curtis. Ed Griggs, a winner at Lakeside Speedway in Kansas, while at the Salina High Banks, it was Brady Walsh. Tim Farner and Jonathan Gomez both scored wins at Magic Valley in Idaho, while at Meridian, it was Dalton Cristani. Brad May got a pair at New Smyrna in Florida. Rockford, Illinois to Jake Gilly, and Dylan Jones and Bill Ingalls split the victories at Tucson Speedway in Arizona. That's your NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Racing Series report. Thanks for having us on, Jack. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Lenny. Formula One's Global Circus also made a stateside visit over the weekend as the city of Miami played host to the International F1 Series with the inaugural running of the Miami Grand Prix around the home for the NFL's Miami Dolphins, the Hard Rock Stadium.
It's the first ever Miami Grand Prix. We're racing in the States and it's lights out and away we go. And it's a great reaction from Charles Leclerc. It's a decent reaction from Max Verstappen, but Carlos Sainz is ahead of him. Leclerc into the first turn. It's wheel to wheel, Verstappen and Sainz. Sainz has just lost out to Verstappen, who makes up into second place. They're going for it. Max Verstappen on the inside has got Charles Leclerc and has taken the lead. DRS helping out the Red Bull. Extra pace helping out the Red Bull. The leaders swap round on lap 9 here. Verstappen ahead of Leclerc. Max Verstappen started third on the grid. He is going to turn that into victory after passing Leclerc on the road to take the lead. He has held on to that lead, and Max Verstappen wins in Miami.
A race like this is incredibly satisfying. I really think we had good pace on the medium tire, and that basically also made the race because that's where I opened up my gap, and I survived a few attacks of him just because my tires were very cold initially and I couldn't really get them up to temperature like I wanted to. But once they went up to temperature, I think we had really good pace again.
Action across America on the Advance Auto Parts Weekly Racing scene means that Lenny Baticki returns for an update on week 2.
Thanks a lot, Jack. We'll start out in Corning, Iowa at Adams County Speedway. Luke Ramsey, the winner there. Bobby Reese and Ty Torkelson won up at Alaska Raceway Park's opening day. All-American Speedway in California to Dylan Zampa. Trevor Huddleston won at Irwindale. Autodrome Chaudière in Quebec to Michael Lavoie, while Trayton Lapsevich won at the Pinty's race at Sunset Speedway. Berlin Raceway, Marne, Michigan to Brian Bergacker. Nick Duranko, a winner at Cedar Lake in Wisconsin. La Crosse Fairgrounds to Mike Carlson. Charlie McKenna got the victory at Central Missouri. Claremont Motorsports Park in New York to Ricky Bly, while Doug Coby took the checkers at the opener at Riverhead. Colorado National to Rick Smith. Toby McIntyre, winner at Coos Bay. Evergreen Speedway in Washington to Brandon Lindbergh. Gary Wiltrout won at the new NASCAR track. Jennerstown Speedway in Pennsylvania. Greenville Pickens in South Carolina to Mag Tate. Hudson, New Hampshire, the winner there, Justin Beecher. Keith Johnson got the checkers at Monadnock. I-80 in Nebraska to Adam Gillian. Bryce Applegate, a winner at the Concrete Jungle at Kingsport Speedway in Tennessee. Lima Land in Ohio to Jeff Kaz. Haley Constance and Drew Retzma split the victories in Idaho at Magic Valley, while at Meridian, Nathan Lamb and Colton Nelson did the same. Doug Simeon won at New Smyrna. Rockford, Illinois to Josh Thering. Jerry D. Gaspare Jr. got the win at Seekonk. That's your NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Racing Series report. Thanks for having us, Jack. We'll see you next time.
This past weekend, the NTT IndyCar Series kicked off their build-up to the Indy 500 when the famed Brickyard hosted the GMR Grand Prix on the Indianapolis Road Course.
Let's get things going here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway 2022. Here we go.
This is going to be fascinating. Colton Herta gets to the front straightaway. Will Power on slicks, trying to get temperature. Here comes Herta.
Going to be close. His old teammate Pato O'Ward there from Indy Lights. Here he is wheel to wheel with Power. That one's easily done. Now he can begin the chase on Pato O'Ward.
There's Pato O'Ward.
Whoa, look out. big drift,
Nice save.
sideways.
Nice save from Colton Herta. Here comes Colton Herta, and then Pato Award is just behind. It's going to be close here.
Inside line for Herta, wheel to wheel with Rosenquist. The Gainbridge Honda prevails.
I think this is my most fun win ever. Let's bring it home, buddy.
Bring it home. The 22-year-old Californian, Colton Herta, wins the GMR Grand Prix to the delight of the Andretti Autosport crew.
Man, this is awesome. That was the hardest race I think I've ever done. Wet to dry, dry back to wet. And thank you so much for the Hoosiers for sticking around. I know you're used to this kind of weather, so thank you very much. Love you guys.
For NASCAR's Trucks and Cup Series, it was action at the Kansas Speedway.
John Hunter Nemechek and Corey Heim to start us at Kansas. Zane Smith on his way to another stage win. It would be his fourth of the season. Zane Smith on the inside. John Hunter Nemechek with his teammate behind him on the outside. 8 to go at Kansas.
Huge launch for Zane Smith. Wow.
But tonight it belongs to Zane Smith.
Checker flag, finally I'm out ahead, baby.
The winner at Kansas.
We obviously struggled there in the first stage, and I feel like I made the mistake last week with adjusting too much in the heat of day, and it wasn't right in the night, and we just executed greatly with this truck. This is our Vegas truck. I feel like this would have been an image of Vegas, what we've seen tonight, if I didn't get damage early in the race there. But that was one of my easier ones I've ever had to win.
Meanwhile, the IMSA WeatherTech Series returned to action, this time on the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Circuit in Lexington, Ohio.
Let's get things going at Mid-Ohio. Great jump there by Bourdais. Pulls it, then he stalls a little bit. Looked like when he shifted up, he didn't have the power there. Albuquerque's coming back at him. That's Ollie Jarvis down to the inside aboard the pink and white machine for Myshank Racing. So Albuquerque gets the jump and gets Bourdais.
Down the backstretch, here comes Taylor again. Which way will he look heading down to turn 4?
Approaching 175 miles an hour as they get to the brake pedal, down deep into turn 4. Taylor takes it in deep, he goes to the outside, he's going to clear him.
Leader of the race is on pit road. The Konica Minolta Acura. Ricky Taylor still has just a little over a second lead over Tom Blomqvist. Fighting for the overall win in traffic, the black and blue Acura of Ricky Taylor trying to take it home. Coming to the checkers here, 5 in a row for Acura, and it will be at the hands of Ricky Taylor. GTD winner, Inception Racing in the McLaren on an amazing fuel run.
The curtain closer to the weekend was Sunday afternoon's Cup Series event.
Green flag, we're underway.
You see it already, 3 wide. That's what's cool about this racetrack. And here's Byron. Oh no! I mean, left rear tire on the leader. It's down, guys. There it is.
There it is.
Left rear.
There he said it. I told you guys.
Trend strikes. Kurt Busch wins the stage by 2 seconds over younger brother Kyle.
Whoa!
How about that?
Clear low.
And he saved it.
I didn't see Cindrix, but that's as far sideways as I've seen.
That was wrecked. That saved him. That was farther. That was wrecking.
What a save by Kyle Larson.
And the wall. Chase Elliott, turn 3 minus a tire.
Well, Clint, we said it, around 20, 22 laps. It's exactly where we're at right now. We see another left rear tire failure.
Yeah.
Larson hits the wall.
First, you saw the 45 get tight, lid flames coming out of him. You saw the flames out of it. That was a pretty hard hit for Larson.
Kurt tried to close the gap. Kyle gets into the outside of the wall.
Takes it. Kurt Busch to the lead. This team formed by Denny Hamlin in a conversation with Michael Jordan. What if we go racing? Toyota jumped on board. With Bubba Wallace, they became a 2-car team. And here comes Kurt Busch to deliver the jump and the victory.
Hell yeah, man. You are the man.
Larson
so proud
second.
of you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Kyle Busch
everywhere.
third. Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Martin Truex, 5 Toyotas in the first 6 spots.
This is 23-11. This is our first win for the 45 car. And with Jordan Brand on the hood, I mean, I felt like I had to play like the GOAT, or race like the GOAT, and I had to beat Kyle's. I had to beat both.
So there you have it. A pretty stout racing recap of action over the course of the last 14 days. I'm calling this week's Wind Tunnel episode All About the Drive. I'm going to introduce you to 3 guests that harness a specific drive to provide them with a singular compass path to achieving their goals and their dreams. For Max and Jennifer Siegel, it was an overwhelming need that created their Rev Racing team. They wanted to create a platform where minorities might get the push upward, the helping hand, to pursue a driving career, a career as a crew member, or simply a career as a member of the racing industry. When Max and I visited, he unpacked that mission statement, and along the way, he shared his vision and his report card on NASCAR's Drive for Diversity programs. 19-year-old Carson Hosevar has a dream. Like many his age, Hosevar has his sights set on a career in NASCAR's Cup Series. Presently in his second full-time season in the Camping World Truck Series, where he and his niece Motorsport Chevrolet Silverado are making a lot of noise. A pair of consecutive runner-up finishes over the last two races, as well as his entertaining demeanor outside his truck, is winning him legions of fans. When he stops by for his very first wind tunnel visit, we'll talk about his burning drive to succeed. We'll also trace his emerging fan signature, those assorted hats that he wears during driver introductions. Ben and I will talk about all of that, and he will share some thoughts on his vision for the NASCAR of the future. Santino Ferrucci burst onto the IndyCar racing scene just a handful of years ago, and already he has earned a reputation as a brash, fearless, and incredibly fast race car driver. The Connecticut native has moved to Dallas-Fort Worth, and he returns to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this coming Memorial Day weekend in a one-off drive in the Indy 500. Several weeks ago, he served notice that his Dreyer and Reinbold effort should be counted as a legitimate race-winning contender. His visit is spiced by his candid and sometimes humorous self-assessments. So let's get things underway, shall we? You'll meet our first guest right after this timeout.
This week's guests are waiting in the wings, and you'll meet them coming up after the break. Coming up.
NASCAR is the biggest motorsport in the USA, and while the next-gen cars are making the technology more relevant, NASCAR is also making sure that the sport is open for all. Raja Caruth is racing in the ARCA Menard Series as well as some Xfinity races this season. In ARCA, he's running with Rev Racing, set up by Max Siegel.
It's a stepping stone, and for the time being, it's awesome to see them believe in the youth and just puts more pressure on me to go out and perform.
You'll meet this week's Advance Auto Parts Victory Lap guest after this message.
Hey, car lovers. At Advance Auto Parts, we have what you need to keep your car running all season long. So if you enjoy getting ahead of the curve when it comes to taking care of your ride, Advance Auto Parts has everything to keep your ride on track to reach the victory lap. Because you can trust the team at Advance Auto Parts to assist you in finding what you need at the right price. Stop by Advance Auto Parts, where you're always number one.
This is how we advance.
Man, this is for all those guys. There's a ton of them out there that are like me, that have won here and all these great short tracks around here. We can do it. We just need the opportunities. Today proved it. Yeah, it's a short track, but it's still damn hard to win here, and we did it.
They are hometown heroes, drivers who put their passion on the line in front of their friends.
Here we go, 3 wide, got Sellers up into marble.
Halfway home in this one. Off turn 4, he heads for the checkered flag.
They're 3 wide in 2 different rows.
Buckle up and hold on tight.
Time now to focus the spotlight on hometown heroes with this week's Advance Auto Parts Victory Lap, brought to you by the NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Racing Series, driving local racing in local communities forward.
Well, if you've listened to all of our Wind Tunnel episodes, you've met a lot of young people that have been provided the opportunity to pursue their dream, and that being a career within NASCAR, whether it's over pit wall in the cockpit of a race car or over pit wall changing tires and being part of a pit crew. and one of the integral members and providers of those opportunities. And he marshals the Drive for Diversity program, is the president of Rev Racing, located in Concord, North Carolina. And we've asked him to take the victory lap today on the Advanced Auto Parts segment. He's Max Siegel. Max, welcome to the show. And I have just been blown away by the graduates that have come through the Rev Racing program, but more importantly, the skill set that you provide them, not just in their racecraft, but just in a walk of life. Can you share with me a little bit of what your mission statement or philosophy is?
First of all, I want to thank you so much for having me on the show. We couldn't be more proud of all the young people that have gone through the program, that are currently in the program, and the entire organization. And one of the things that we strive to do, we love the sport, is to create what we call a lifelong connection to the sport. So when we have young people who are aspiring for opportunities within the sport, obviously our priority is to train them, whether they're a crew member or a driver, but we also have interns that come into the office to work. And so we want people to be engaged, creating those young fans with people, being able to follow their dream and their passion for the sport. So it's just been an incredible 14 years.
We've come a long way as a sport, from Wendell Scott, Hall of Famer that he is, although it took so very long for him to be inducted, to where we are today. Do you think that Drive for Diversity is getting the job done?
I think a combination of both. I think there is so much more that needs to be done. However, I can't say enough about NASCAR's commitment to diversity and their focus on making the sport open, accessible, and welcoming. I've been partners with them for 14 years. And prior to that, I had the pleasure of working at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated with Teresa and Dale Jr. and Kelly. And so I've been really impressed with not only the vision to diversify the sport, but the commitment. It requires focus. It requires an investment of resources, and it requires patience and resilience, because it doesn't happen overnight. You can change people's behavior, but changing the attitude and engaging people over a course of time is really hard work. So NASCAR has really been focused and partnering with me on that, but there's so much more to be done.
You start them young. You've got a Legends Car program where you identify potential people that could join the Drive for Diversity program. But once you move into what seems to be your primary focus, that's the ARCA Menard series, and why you're here with us today. The men and the women, or the girls and the boys, however you want to properly refer to it, that pursue their dreams starting at the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts weekly racing series level. So how do you identify them? How do you pick the members of the team, or the class of 2022, let's say, for your Rev Racing program?
Yeah, what we really enjoy is we enjoy a wide engagement across the industry. So this has evolved over the years. On an annual basis, we're reaching out to track operators and executives in the sport and other team owners. And, we have an application process. And so we try to cast a really wide net for young people who first are interested in pursuing their dream. But then second of all, we have a pretty robust evaluation committee that takes a look at, how the young people have invested in themselves, any success that they may have on any level or any form of motorsports, and just really trying to identify people that have potential, but also have been willing to put in the time to develop. So on an annual basis, we get, maybe 100 applicants, and then we evaluate the resumes, and then we take a look at what they've done in their respective, efforts, and then we rank them, and then we invite people to come in and audition for us, and then we hold on to, about 6 drivers at the late model and ARCA level, and then we have 4 to 6 at the Legends level. So it's a pretty comprehensive process.
What's the curriculum like once you sign them up and they become part of Rev Racing?
Yeah, so when I was the president of Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, Steve Phelps and Mike Helton and Brian France asked me to take a look at the program and make recommendations on how we could become more effective at achieving those goals. And so I had the vision that we implemented this academy style training. And what I realized was you have to have great equipment, you have to have some accountability, you have to have consistency in terms of what you're delivering. So once we select and they sign, they move to Charlotte, North Carolina, and they get developed in a number of different areas. First and foremost, there's a physical fitness component, there's a psychological component. They do testing on track. We have them on the simulators. We do a lot of community engagement. So they're learning how to be involved and giving back to the community and great brand ambassadors. And then, they have jobs throughout the organization inside the shop. So we try to develop the full scope of their abilities and give them real good sensibility to everything in the industry. And there's a lot of accountability. They get constant feedback on a weekly basis, back and forth in terms of where they are in that development cycle. But so they make a commitment, and it's an academy, and we train them.
I can only imagine that you, Jennifer, and all of your staff have to at some time or another play the role of parent, mentor, or just confessor, because these are young people that are trying to hold on to a dream and figure out how to attain it.
Yeah, I am so glad that you raised that, because it is, it's a labor of love, and you got to be passionate about it. Jennifer and I have three children. They're not young anymore. Our oldest son, who plays football at Notre Dame, is getting ready to go to law school. Our middle son, who's 20 years old, he's out in California pursuing his craft in music. And our daughter's getting ready to go to college. And so it is, we beam with pride with the young people, because they're like our extended family. But with that comes all of the things that you do when you raise and develop young people. And so, you really have to be committed to this and really want to see them just thrive, and you just ride that wave out with them and their families, so it's a relationship. We have challenging times as well.
Well, I mean, at your point, as you recount, you and your wife should be getting ready to be empty nesters, but instead you're becoming foster parents. But keep one thing in mind, Max: when you surround yourself with young people, I've discovered this, they keep you young.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny because on a weekly basis, you may see my wife's logo, Special Smiles Pediatric Dentist. She contributes on the car. She's a pediatric dentist, and she has about 6,000 patients. And I love to say we have 6,000 additional kids. And so the fact of the matter is, they do keep you young. They keep you relevant. They keep you accountable. So it's really tremendous.
It always has fascinated me and makes me feel good inside when someone can find a career that is a passion. And certainly that's what you've been able to do. And in my mind, this Rev Racing program, and more importantly, the Drive for Diversity, we focus on the driver side of it. But can you, just before I let you go, take a little bit of time to focus on what I think is equally important? You mentioned your intern program, but training, pit training, because there are so many other careers in the world of NASCAR that, need to be diversified. We finally have our first pit crew member of color. This is all what lies ahead, and you guys are committed to that as well.
Yeah, so I have to admit, I have to give credit to Coach Phil Horton. He and I have been together from the very first day of my taking over the Drive for Diversity program, and we actually modeled this academy driver style training on the pit crew. I've known Phil forever. He's been really committed to it. And what we basically said was, we want to train the whole person. We want to find athletes. We want to elevate, the quality of the crew members. We want to educate them on everything that's happening in the sport. And we've had nearly 100% placement of the graduates of our program. We have over 55 crew members that are now earning a living in NASCAR that are either women or people of color. And Phil does such a tremendous job, and he works with Booker closely. It's just a great program, but they get to see from the very first day what it's like to not only execute, out there on the track, but that whole lifestyle and being really, a great, all around professional. So kudos to Phil and the staff at Rev Racing that, work with me on that as well.
Well, kudos to you as well, and to your wife, and to all of the people that comprise Rev Racing. I can tell it's a labor of love, and you're justifiably proud, and I'm so fortunate that you agreed to join us here and help my listeners better understand Drive for Diversity, but most importantly, the great work that you at Rev Racing do. My wishes for continued success and best wishes to you and your group.
Thank you very much. Take care.
You've been listening to the Advance Auto Parts Victory Lap, brought to you by the NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Racing Series, driving local racing in local communities forward. Next here on Wind Tunnel.
I went over race karts in Europe. I ran in F3, GP3, and F2, and I got my first debut drive for Dale back in Detroit in June. And I really like the atmosphere. I really like racing these Indy cars. They're absolutely amazing.
It's the wild child, Santino Ferrucci. Next.
Hey, car lovers. At Advance Auto Parts, we have what you need to keep your car running all season long. So if you enjoy getting ahead of the curve when it comes to taking care of your ride, Advance Auto Parts has everything to keep your ride on track to reach the victory lap. Because you can trust the team at Advance Auto Parts to assist you in finding what you need at the right price. Stop by Advance Auto Parts, where you're always number one.
This is how we advance.
Welcome back to your podcast home for motorsports conversation, Jack Arute's Wind Tunnel. Here's your host, Jack Arute.
He's fun, he's fearless, and he is fast. Entering the wind tunnel right now is Santino Ferrucci, who will be competing in the upcoming Indy 500 for Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. All right, Santino, after a couple of seasons full-time, you have to take full advantage of this one because it's your one-off.
That's true. That's very true. So it's shaping up to be pretty good, though. We had a good test here last week, so I'm pretty excited to get back in May.
Got to tell you, I love that black car, and I thought when you nicknamed it the Batmobile, any further information that you can share with what DNR may have on the side pods come race day?
I do know that the car is in paint. It's now white, so it's primed. I do know the sponsor that's going to be on the car. I'm very excited to share it when time is right. But it's going to look sick. It's going to be one of the coolest Indy cars I think I've had. So I'm super excited. But I can tell you a little bit more information about the car.
All right.
That car chassis number is 007.
Oh, no. So now you take martinis, shaken, not stirred? You come into this Indy 500 I get the sense listening to you, and you always have a smile on your face. And as I said, you're a fan favorite because you are fun to be around. But there just seems to be this release from Santino Ferrucci that, look, I'm going into this with a lot to gain, but I'm not going to fret about a lot to lose either.
No, I mean, it's kind of funny because you got to treat it like every other race, or else you just get in over your head. And to be honest with you, I'm excited to be back in Indy. I'm excited to be back with all the fans. And to be honest with you, I'm just looking to have a great time. I know we're going to have a good car. I know we're going to have a good Sunday. I want to enjoy it, man. You have to enjoy it.
My partner in crime on Brick by Brick on Sirius XM Radio loves to share the story that after so many years, Tony Kanaan pursued that Indy 500 win. And then he finally said, you know what? If I don't get it, I still have had a great career. And here he goes into the Indy 500 with an underfunded team with, maybe not a care in the world, but instead of all the things that close in around you when you are chasing that chance to put your face on the Borg Warner Trophy, and then he ends up winning it. Is it a mental state that you have to go into? You just alluded to it, that it's better if you just look at it as just another damn race.
I mean, for me, yeah. I think there's a lot of drivers that sit there and put so much emphasis on the race, and they get in over their heads. They make mistakes, and for me, you have to treat it like such as another race, or else you do make mistakes. And it's selfish to say that you treat it like that, because it's not just any other race. It is the race. It is the only race in the world that anybody would want to win and have on their list. But it's also the only race in the world that can change your life. So, but if you think about that going into the race, it's not really great because it put a lot of pressure on yourself. So, but like I said, I'm just excited to get back there and have fun. Dude, I'm thrilled. Our car looks good. We look like we have a lot of speed. Chevy feels great. So, I mean, hell, just go out there and run 200 laps.
And on top of all of that, back a while back, you're sitting on the couch getting ready to watch the XPEL 375, and you get a phone call from Ray Hall Letterman, who you've driven for before, and they said, hey, Santino, we can't promise you, but Harv is having a few medical difficulties. Would you mind driving up to the racetrack? And I'm really interested because it's the only oval opportunity that all of the cats that'll compete in the Indy 500 have got before it. So what has that done to the way you go about things? Because all of a sudden you were the super sub that day.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I live in Dallas now. So that was the first race that I'd gone to for this year. And I was just there to hang out with some buddies. And I was just there to be there because I can. It's 30 minutes. And to get that call at dinner and be like, hey, do you think you show up at the track tomorrow at like 8:30, 9? We're not really sure what's happening. They flew my seat in and all that stuff. And I was like, I mean, I woke up in the morning like, I'm probably going to be coming back to bed here about. And they're like, oh, you're racing today. So, sweet. Nothing a little bit of iRacing can't prepare you for.
Well, what did you take away from that you think you can apply to the Indy 500?
Oh, man, just knocking the dust off. I mean, I'm telling you that my last race in an Indy car before that was Nashville, which was August. So, and then the actual last race in competition that I did was the Chili Bowl.
There's Ferrucci right there in the Dave Mack car, right up on the got on the bike real quick, and that front end dug in, and that was the impact right there, the back of the cage, and then the second impact on top that really, really can hurt.
So, that was the most recent thing on my mind was the last race I did. I just had a pretty good concussion, and I front flipped a car into the fence in practice. And it's never really a great thing for a driver to let that sit on your mind. And you're going to go from that to the 500. Is kind of like, whoa. But to have a great result in Texas and showing up for the open test, I already felt 3 steps ahead of where I was last year, because my first race for Ray Hall last year was the 500. And it was a little nerve wracking because I hadn't raced in, 8 months or 6 months or however long it was. And now to not have to have that in the back of my head, I can feel like I can just sit there and go for it right from the start and not have to worry about warming up to it.
I watched that crash of yours in practice at the Chili Bowl, and I can attest to the fact that when you get airborne and decide that you're going to become, an aero commander instead of a race car driver, there's a moment in time when everything gets really quiet, and then all hell breaks loose, right?
I mean, they should have given me my pilot's license. I landed that thing. I got the takeoff, 10 points through the air. I mean, we looked like a high dive, coming down. But they played it during the XPEL 375 because we were under caution. I look up and I'm like, oh, look, it's me.
Let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. You have an abundance of talent. You certainly have always acquitted yourself well in IndyCar, but it strikes me that maybe you're minus that golden briefcase. So you find yourself with maybe a generation ago what would have been more than sufficient to land you a full-time A-class ride, kind of going into things and hoping that there'll be a turn of events like there was at Texas, or a one-off opportunity with a really good team, Dreyer and Reinbold. But you're on the outside looking in, my friend.
Yeah, it's really tough. Unfortunately, the racing market's not what it used to be. There's a lot of rich kids that, come into the sport and can write a $5 million check. Unfortunately, I'm not, not one of those. I'm trying to do it on merit. It's really tough for me, but to be honest with you, I like the challenge, and it just makes you drive and work for it even harder. And to have that opportunity that Ray Hall gave me last year, man, that was so refreshing. I mean, there's nothing better than getting a phone call saying, hey, we have the car, we have the funding, we just need a shoe. And I was just, that's, as a driver that's been working for that your whole life, to have that, to have a team like that come to you and say, hey, let's go do this. It was great. And the same thing with Dreyer, man. It's, first thing that came up in November was, do you have any plans for next year? If not, we want to hire you for the 500. And no sponsor on the car, no nothing, just straight up, let's hire you. Let's get this program going, and then we'll worry about that later. And so it's been an interesting ride.
I got to ask you a couple of non-racing related questions, okay? First one, who in the hell came up with that hairdo?
It's getting cut. I gotta cut it.
Oh, you're gonna toe the straight and narrow come Indy time,
Yeah,
huh?
well, I just gotta cut the ponytail off the back. I just yeah. No, I'm not. I like the long hair. I just not a huge fan of the ponytail. But I haven't been anywhere to where I've been out in the public eye. So I haven't had to worry about it. So coming back to May, we'll be a little bit more groomed.
All right, your guilty pleasure, something that my listeners would not know about Santino Ferrucci away from racing, that, when you have that private moment by yourself, with your friends, with your girlfriend, that you get all amped up about.
Man, to be honest with you, I'm really starting to pick up golf, and it's something that we do with our friends. And I just got fitted I went to a fitting this morning to fit my club. I mean, I honestly love it. And to be honest with you, I love the competition aspect of it. Also, and speaking of guilty pleasures, it's not really a guilty pleasure, but just for the will standpoint, I went and did a half marathon cold this Saturday, and cold.
No training.
No training. And I was going to break sub 2 hours. And then I realized that, maybe I should have trained my legs a little bit better. But no, it's just having that competition aspect. I'm always down for a good little challenge here and there. It's kind of how I feel going in with Dreyer. I love a good little challenge. We're going to be the little team that can.
Last week I had Noah Gregson on. You know him well from your Xfinity forays. So he's shared with us a long time ago that he's a bulk purchaser, goes to Sam's Club or goes to Costco. And his latest purchase, because he, like you, has taken up golf. He bought 5 dozen golf balls.
I just did that online the other day.
Played 9 holes, and he said of the 5 dozen, there were 8 left.
Oh, no, I'm not that bad.
9 holes.
I'm not that bad. No. I'm like a 20 handicap. I like the bulk purchasing. I'm a Costco member myself, man. And trust me, when I go to town, when I get there on food, because I also cook a lot.
What do you like to cook?
Oh, man, I'm cooking steaks, chicken, salmon, pasta dishes. I'm getting really into pizza.
Oh, wood burning? Make your own stuff?
Trust me, when we get out of the apartment in Dallas into a house, it's the first thing that I'm getting is a proper pizza oven. So I can't wait.
Nothing less should be expected from someone that ends his name in a vowel. Remember that.
Yes, I have to cook. It's like my non would be so disappointed if I couldn't cook.
This has been a real treat. You have always been one of my favorites. And listen, there's an awful lot of people pulling not only for you, but because those of us that have been around Indy for more than 50 years realize that Dreyer and Reinbold goes way back in the history. Good to have them teaming up with you. You're going to have a tremendous amount of fun. And when they drop that green rag come race day, I know you're going to be going to the front. And we all will be watching, Santino.
I appreciate it, Jack. Thank you for having me on, man. And I can't wait. I'm so excited to be with Dreyer. Those guys work so freaking hard, dude.
So do you. So do you, my friend.
We all do. It's a team effort.
Attaboy. Talk to you soon.
There's more wind tunnel headed your way after this timeout.
Hey, car lovers, at Advance Auto Parts, we have what you need to keep your car running all season long. So if you enjoy getting ahead of the curve when it comes to taking care of your ride, Advance Auto Parts has everything to keep your ride on track to reach the victory lap. Because you can trust the team at Advance Auto Parts to assist you in finding what you need at the right price. Stop by Advance Auto Parts, where you're always #1.
This is how we advance.
Next, here on Wind Tunnel.
I went through every sport you could find and, never clicked on any of them and wanted to do race of some sort, but didn't know how to do it. And
Rhodes up top. Now Hosevar and Rhodes side by side for second.
with our performance lately, I think it's definitely shown that we can run up front. And, I think that's right down around the corner, but you never know.
There's more Wind Tunnel headed your way after this timeout.
Hey, car lovers, at Advance Auto Parts, we have what you need to keep your car running all season long. So if you enjoy getting ahead of the curve when it comes to taking care of your ride, Advance Auto Parts has everything to keep your ride on track to reach the victory lap. Because you can trust the team at Advance Auto Parts to assist you in finding what you need at the right price. Stop by Advance Auto Parts, where you're always #1.
This is how we advance.
Hosevar trying to cross him over. That is wild. Here comes Hosevar throwing another one back at him, but isn't going to be able to convert. Meanwhile, Hosevar chasing John Hunter. Can Hosevar make a run at Nemechek as they come off turn 2? We heard Hosevar say he'd have to do it down at 3 and 4, but he's not close enough at this point.
Lost too much ground there in 1 and 2, Vince.
Welcome back to your podcast home for motorsports conversation. Jack Arute's Wind Tunnel.
So making his first ever appearance inside the wind tunnel, a young man that has absolutely captured the imagination of me and many of the fans of the Camping World Truck Series. He has become the sidekick to another tall tree driver, Michael Waltrip, as they treat us to hats and meetings now and again. We're talking about Carson Hosevar. And Carson, welcome to the wind tunnel. And I got to tell you, you've become the yin to Michael Waltrip's yang. Do you enjoy that relationship that's been developing?
It's fun. It's fun, that relationship with Fox and stuff. We get to go have fun for 2-3 hours. It's real laid back. There's no script most of the time. And more so, you just get to have fun. There's a lot worse things I could be doing, or a lot more boring stuff I could be doing than that. It always works out. There's 2-3 hours of we're there for two minutes of video that actually gets used. So it's kind of funny that all the stuff that never gets used or never gets seen, but it's a fun relationship to go do that with Michael and everybody, and it's all good people.
We'll get to your current rise up the ladder. As I said, you've captured the imagination of many of us, but I'm sure that there are a lot of folks that don't know the story. You were 11 years old when you went from a quarter midget that had to be pushed off into a full-bodied late model at Berlin Raceway. Am I correct?
Yeah, we tested 11. I raced at 12, but looking back on it, I don't know who was crazy enough, and Johnny Benson was working on maybe that old age or retirement age. He's like, that's how my kid have at it, but yeah, at the time it made sense to me just because it was me and I was biased as all hell. But now, if there's a 12-year-old racing me, I'd be confused and I'd be like, man, I'd be scratching my head. So it's just funny that how I've grown up and changed. I'm like, did all that really make sense? Did anybody really think this one through? And luckily it worked out just fine. I didn't make too many pissed off people and make too many enemies.
Well, let me ask you this. When you tested and you sat in that late model, I mean, did you have to have like a phone book? But then again, you're 6'3", so you probably sprouted early. But that jump from a quarter midget to a full-size late model, did you poop yourself?
No, not quite. I mean, I ran a full-size midget, so that kind of slowed the process down a little bit. At least I got on a big track, and it wasn't just going from that
from literally nothing to 100. At least ran something, but still, it's the hardest part for me was shifting and through the pit area. Like the hardest part wasn't on the racetrack. It was more so like off the racetrack, and there was countless times because that transmission was backwards. It was a high-low gear, so it was different. Like you push the clutch in to go and push the gas. You push it together and then drop both of them, shift up, and there was countless times where we tried to focus on that only rather than worry about how fast we were going.
And NASCAR's rules at the time, you ended up doing very, very well. And then Berlin takes the NASCAR sanction, and the revenuers show up at the doorstep and say, you're not old enough. How disappointing was that as you just began your career and you were doing so well?
It wasn't that big of a deal just because I wanted to go travel and I wanted to go do bigger races. So we're going to do it next year. So we're just like, okay, we're going to go do it now. We're going to go. And my first race that I traveled at, I was racing for lead with John Hunter actually, and he crashed me. Still not letting him live that one down. So I still have that one in my back pocket. Know him, especially for him beating me at Darlington. That's another one in the back pocket. Oh, two. But no, I just happen to remember that. So it's kind of funny. The first pro late model race, I go travel and we're racing door to door and for a win. And, we kind of do the same thing now on Fridays.
I'm probably dating myself, but you know who Harry Gant is, right?
Oh yeah.
Mr. Second Place, right?
Mr. Second Place. Don't go where you're going with this. Don't go. No.
Well, you're the one that brought it up in Darlington in the post-race interview when you said, I finally understand. I mean, look, Tony Stewart, who I know you know and probably idolize a little bit, used to always tell me when I would finish second, Jack, you're first loser.
It's true. There's a lot of losers on every night on this sport. There's a lot of losers. There's way more losers than there are winners. There are only one. So it's tough. We don't go there. I don't go to the racetrack. Oh man, I hope we could finish second today. That'd be a good day. I don't think anybody that does that.
When you look at the way, from the moment you sat in that Nice Motorsports truck 1 year ago, you took to it like a duck to water. You put together some great podium finishes with a limited schedule. And then Al decides to sign you on, because now you're legal and you can go the full season and you're already putting the numbers up, sights on the playoffs, just so many things. Are you surprised, Carson, that they've come to you as quickly as they have? Or is this pretty much what you expected?
No, I mean, every race car driver's got a big ego and got massive aspirations, right? But eventually, no matter the equipment, no matter everything about it, you expect to continue to grow and continue to progress. You never want to stall out, whether it's, if we went from running 15th to consistently running top 10, that's pretty good. That's good. But our trucks have gotten, took 2 steps further than I thought they would this quickly this year. And we've gone from running in a 10th to 12th consistently, probably 7th to 8th on good days. And, we could strategize ourselves and maybe put ourselves in the back half of the top 5 last year. Now we just have raw pace. Now we go up and drive there and we're racing up front and we're running in the top 5 almost every race, which is good. That's what we want. That's what I expect from myself as well as Nice Motorsports. And we're all hitting our jobs correctly right now. So that's, that's my goal. And that was my goal this year, was to literally finish the top 10 every race. That was my goal. And, I messed up time or two earlier this year and blew that, but we're getting really close to being there very consistent.
Guys like Harvick have always preached that when it's a fast car or a fast truck, when things are going well, and as you're saying, this season, most of the time running up front, that task is easier than, chasing that 15th. But I wonder from your perspective, now that you are running up front, where do you think you've gotten stronger in terms of your racecraft?
It's normal for me to be up front now. I've never really gotten nervous, but I know what to expect. it's hard to predict Kyle Busch, right? You never race him. You learn the tactics of people you race. Well, I get to see Kyle 5 times a year in a truck, and last year I never saw him at all because I wasn't running up front when he was running up front. I never got to do that in Vegas and Coda. I got to run with him, because we were just as good and right there with him. So you learn and peek at a piece, and that showed me, and I almost predicted every move Ross was going to make to get in his clean air and never get stalled out and never get schooled by him at Darlington. And even though I was running second at the time, it felt like I was deciding on where he was going to put his truck. I knew exactly where he was going to go, and I just knew exactly coming off turn 2. I didn't second guess. I determined where he was going. I determined where he was going on a restart because I rolled him too quick, and he just went. And that's what he said. He wasn't expecting me to roll him as good as I did. And, I definitely jumped it, basically, in the sense of just not jumping it, but I timed him perfect and almost got him guessing to where I forced him to go, and it was perfect.
From your standpoint, you've just gotten started in the upper tiers of NASCAR. Second year, as I said, in the trucks. Have you got a timetable for where you may, finally be able to check the box and say, all right, I'm up here with the big cats running the NASCAR Cup Series?
I have no clue.
Yeah.
I have no clue. It's all, I've never gotten a phone call from Xfinity team. Never gotten a call.
Why do you think that is, Carson?
I don't know. I feel like all the teams are used to drivers going to them and saying, I got this much funding. What do I got? How many races am I getting? That's what it is. That's how it works. Nice Motorsports called me. I wasn't calling them. I didn't know they had an opening. I had no clue. I don't know how this thing works. I didn't know how it works. I didn't plan on calling them. I figured for my sponsorship, for my funding, I was like, there ain't no way I could afford that. And they saw something in me and worked it out to where the little sponsorship I did have we could work it out and see how they needed a wheelman, and they needed someone to build on and make it sustainable for this company to survive for the next 2 to 3 years and something to grow on. And they somehow saw that in me, and we're on year 3 for, year 2 for full-time, year 3 as partners and as a team. And I think they're reaping the reward right now, as I for sure am. But I've never gotten a call.
So you don't have back in a closet a golden briefcase. You put your name out there, hang it on the side of the door, and let your talent speak for yourself. You realize that makes you a bit of a dinosaur in today's world, where and I've said this on the air many, many times and bemoan the fact that it's more how many followers have you got on social media, how good are you at activation, a lot of terminology that the old grizzled veterans like Petty and Pearson and Waltrip even would have looked at you and not known anything about it. You're just, as you said, a wheelman. Do you think that that's sufficient in the 21st century, Carson, for you to really eventually get to the top?
I don't know. I mean, if a few years, I'll have the answer if it worked or not. But I don't know. I feel like if I win races enough, we put on a handful of partners, which might allow me to have that golden briefcase, right? This year, Premier Securities jumped on board for a lot of races, and I had 8 races to sell this year that Premier didn't have, and we sold all of them. We hadn't announced them yet, but we sold all of them. I'm fully funded for this year in the sense that there's going to be a sponsor on the truck every race, and we're not to the play. Like last year, the playoffs, I didn't have any. So that's if I was terrible, if I didn't work out, I was probably gone. But we ran plenty good enough, made the playoffs, obviously, that, it was like, oh man, like how are we going to afford this? How are we going to be sustainable? And luckily, Nice Motorsports has a lot of funded drivers this year. And luckily, I'm one of those now of how good we ran, but I don't know about the future.
Well, congratulations on being fully funded. But before I let you go, I certainly hope that part of the activation included at least a per diem for you to go out and buy a hat each week, because that's kind of become your signature. Where the hell did that come from?
I don't know. I have no clue. It just sort of started. I literally did one just because I liked the hat and wanted to wear it. And then I found a cool Waffle House hat. I was like, man, that's kind of funny. It'd be cool to wear that at Watkins Glen. And it took off so big that I figured, I'll just find one or two funny ones and that'll be it. Be good laughs on Twitter and try to explode it. It's kind of like stalling out right now, right? But like it's always fun to do.
Well, I can jumpstart it for you, okay? Can jumpstart it. You know, get a Rastafarian hat, with the long Rastafarian braids. And then when you go up there and the next time somebody isn't liking what you did in the cockpit of that truck, you say, ain't no big ting, man. There you go. Hey, it's a real treat to have you visit with us. And as I said before, I love somebody that's a wheelman that just wants to go out there and be judged by his talent. That first victory, once you bang that door down, man, you are going to be on your way just the way Harry Gant has been. And we wish you the very best. And I do appreciate you taking some time today here in the wind tunnel.
Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
I'll wrap things up after you listen to this.
Hey, car lovers. At Advance Auto Parts, we have what you need to keep your car running all season long. So if you enjoy getting ahead of the curve when it comes to taking care of your ride, Advance Auto Parts has everything to keep your ride on track to reach the victory lap. Because you can trust the team at Advance Auto Parts to assist you in finding what you need at the right price. Stop by Advance Auto Parts, where you're always number one.
This is how we advance.
It may have taken 2 weeks, but we finally have come to the end of this episode. Many thanks to my guests, Max Siegel of Rev Racing, IndyCars, Santino Ferrucci, and NASCAR Camping World Truck Series driver Carson Hosevar. I hope that after listening to them, you will agree that it was worth your wait. Now, barring any more catastrophes, computer crashes, or other technical issues, I assure you, we will return next week with yet another episode of Wind Tunnel. So long, everyone.
You've been listening to Jack Arute's Wind Tunnel. Wind Tunnel is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, the official auto parts retailer of NASCAR. Follow us on our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And be sure to subscribe to Wind Tunnel's YouTube channel, where you'll discover bonus content. I'm Lenny Viticki of Performance Racing Network's At the Track Show, saying thank you for joining us today. See you again next week.